Jack Ebling here with Lindsay Huddleston. It's another Press Pass preview, and we are at Breslin Center after a 16-point Michigan State win over the Minnesota Golden Gophers, 74-58. That means in this three-game homestand, Lindsay, Michigan State's outscored Illinois, Michigan, and Minnesota by a combined 54 points.
That's great. And I guess Tom Izzo will take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day, right?
He'll take 5-0 in the Big Ten standings.
That's right.
When Ohio State, the team a lot of people thought would win this league a couple weeks ago, has one conference win. Michigan has 2 conference wins. So 5-0 looks pretty good, and now the Spartans hit the road, going to the only place that the seniors have not won. That is Mackey Arena in West Lafayette. Michigan State has not won at Purdue since 2014.
Wow.
And last year, the trip to Purdue started a 3-game losing streak. Aaron Henry, well aware of that skid, he said he's going to remind everyone of that tomorrow.
Wow. So it's not just a concern of a very tough Purdue team playing in that Mackey Arena, which is probably the loudest place you would get this side of the Mississippi. It's also the potential that if they don't play successfully, the skid that can come back and rear its head again, I guess.
Well, they basically held serve plus a win at Northwestern, which is the weakest team in the league. So do they have a marquee road win? No, they don't. But this would be one. If they can win at Purdue, very few teams do that. And Purdue is going to be out to exact some punishment when you consider that they only scored 37 points at Illinois Sunday.
Right.
That they lost in double overtime tonight at Michigan. A game they could have won twice and missed shots at the buzzer at regulation and in the first overtime. And now there's an injury to 7'3" Matt Harns. Don't know what that means for Sunday. So Michigan State plays the way it can, it'll be fine. But if it doesn't, if it lets the crowd get to them and loses the poise, which Xavier Tillman said was very important, they have to be poised at Purdue.
Right. Speaking of that, he was talking about how difficult it is to communicate. So I did ask, well, how do you? He said they go through like hand signals, touching each other. They're very much on top of each other. But my question to you, Jack, is how important is a win on the road at Purdue? Is that almost what a tournament win would be like? Is that the way to compare it?
Yeah, I think so. In some ways, it's tougher than a tournament win because the environment is so raucous. You don't get that in a tournament.
There's no neutrality.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But you look at what they did tonight, Lindsay, and they struggled in the first half.
Really did.
Only led by 4. And Cassius, 2 for 8 from the field in the first half. Turned it on, finished with 27 points, and passed the 1,700 point mark. Now has 1,702 in his quest for 2,000, and I think he will reach that if he stays healthy. Getting the assist to get to 1,000, that's a much tougher challenge.
Right.
But Xavier Tillman was there to pick him up and pick everyone in Michigan State up. Finished with 19 points, 16 boards, and 5 more block shots. He had 19 block shots in the first 13 games. He has 15 in the last 3.
Wow.
So he has turned into a shot-blocking force in this 3-game homestand.
Sure. When Xavier Tillman stepped on this campus as a freshman, was it expected we'll be seeing him play like he's playing right now?
No, there were hopes that he'd be a good player, but I don't think anyone thought as a junior he would be a dominant player. And there are long stretches where he is Michigan State's best player, best all-around player. Cassius gets all the headlines, gets all the points, or most of them. But this team would not be anywhere close to where they are. Probably wouldn't be above 500 in the Big Ten without Xavier Tillman.
Right. We talk about Xavier Tillman's great play, of course, Cassius and his leadership. What do you think the other Spartans will have to do for sure going into Purdue to get the win?
A lot more than they did tonight. Aaron Henry did play pretty good defense on Marcus Carr, held him to 11 points, and Carr had scored 35 against Ohio State. So that was appreciated. But Marcus Bingham missed a dunk.
Right.
Thomas Kithier never seemed to be in flow.
Sure.
Foster Lawyer came in, hit a big 3.
Yes, right, to beat the shot clock.
But Rocket Watts, terrible game, I thought, and he wanted to get out of the locker room in a hurry.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
Maybe freshman woes. You come in with all this hype and expectation. He's also nursing the injury too. Do you think that can play into it?
Yeah. Not 100%, but hey, it's a long season. Very few guys are.
Sure.
You get halfway through a season like this, something's going to be bothering you. Kyle Ahrens didn't play.
Right. One question I posed to Coach Izzo, and I had to preface it by saying I know this is not an excuse, and I know you want to allow it,
Yeah.
but I talked about the possibility of the Michigan game, a rivalry game, being such an emotionally high game,
Yeah.
and that there may be some correlation with those guys not being into it like they were in the first half, but getting together in the second half. And surprisingly enough, he said I might be barking up the right tree, so there may be something to that, but I think that's all out the window when they get back on the road again.
Well, the other thing about Minnesota is this is a team that they beat in the second round of the NCAA tournament by 20.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they relaxed just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be emotionally up here every game.
All the time.
And they certainly were for the Michigan game. You know that they've got the Purdue game circled. They want to go in there and they want to pay Purdue back.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to play better than they did tonight to do that.
Yeah. Well, you talk about emotionally high. I'm looking at the time, and one thing that gets me emotionally high is talking about press pass. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Sunday night, looking forward to that. And so we'll be talking Big Ten basketball, the Michigan State game. We've got a lot of football action. We have 4 divisional championship games.
It's that time.
In the NFL, and I think we're also going to have a very special tribute to George Perlis.
Yeah.
And Tom Izzo made note of that tonight, an emotional tribute to George, someone he was very close to. Some fans loved George, some fans liked George, some fans didn't understand George, but Tom Izzo will always appreciate George.
I see.
Yeah. For Lindsay Huddleston, Jack Ebling saying, we will see you Sunday after Michigan State Purdue on Press Pass.